Hi, I'm Tom and I'm the Product Manager for Franchise 360, and in this short video I'll be showing you how to set up the Performance Management module for collecting key figures from your franchisees on a regular basis. In this video I'm going to start with a completely blank template to replicate the steps you'll want to take when you first switch on the module. All of the steps I'm about to show you are a one-time setup process. Once done, you won't need to do this again unless the figures you want to collect change. To start, we click on the Performance Management icon from the home screen. Since we have no template set up yet, Franchise 360 will give you some instructions as to how to get started. The first thing we need to do is to set up some sections for the form we're going to use to collect the data from the franchisees. Sections are just a way of grouping together figures that belong together, so in this case I'll just quickly add sales and marketing. Once you've got the sections in place, the next step is to add the metrics that you want to collect, which can be done either by clicking the plus button against the section you want to add the metric to, or by clicking the Add New Metric button at the bottom left. Whichever button you clicked, you are presented with a screen where you can select from a range of built-in metrics. These metrics are driven by activity within Franchise 360. If you select one of these metrics, it will be automatically populated for the franchisee so they don't have to enter the figure manually. On the other hand, if the metric you want to collect is based on something outside of the system, for example the number of customer complaints, you can click on Create Custom Metric and the system will allow you to enter your own. Regardless of which option you choose, you will then be shown this screen where you can set various options about the metric you want to collect. Specifically, a description which can be used as a prompt for the franchisee so they know what to enter. A minimum value and a maximum value to ensure that the values entered by the franchisees are within an acceptable range, and whether higher values are considered better or worse. This would be used for things such as a defect rate or a number of complaints, where a smaller number is better. You can also choose whether or not you want to set up targets for this metric. I'll come back to targets later, but for now I'll just quickly set up a few metrics for our template. So, to add the first metrics, you just click on Add New Metric, and I'll add a number of invoicing relating metrics from the pre-built set. So we'll add number of invoices created, we'll add in the total value of invoices created in the period, and we'll add in the average value of the invoices created in the period. You'll notice when I select one of these metrics, because it's a built-in metric, we automatically know what type it is and whether high values are good or not. So we lock those out so you can't change them, hence why you get the message at the top of the screen. Now I've added some of the built-in metrics, I'll also add a couple of custom metrics so you see how that can work. So if we click Add New Metric and then Create Custom Metric, we'll be given a completely blank form. So first of all, I choose which section I want the metric to show in. So I'll say Marketing. You can choose what order it needs to show in. In this case I haven't got anything in there, so it just says, well, the first place you can put it is the start of the section. And then you can put in a label, which is just the name of what you're collecting, a description, which is a prompt for the franchisee, and then some information about the metric. So let's say we want to collect the number of tweets sent in a month. I can choose what type of metric this is. Now obviously in the case of tweets it's got to be a whole number, so we just select whole number, and we're assuming that we want higher numbers for tweets, so we'll say higher values indicate better performance. In this case obviously there's not a minimum or a maximum value, and for now I'm going to leave targets blank. I'll also just quickly add one more, which is again in marketing. It's going to show after the number of tweets sent, and it's going to be the number of Facebook posts. Again, that's a whole number metric, higher values are better. Once you've configured what sections you want your form to have and the figures you're looking to collect, as we have done now, the next step is to think about how often you want to collect the figures and when. To do this, we just click on the Schedule tab and then click on the Edit button down at the bottom left. In this screen, you're given the option to choose the frequency at which metrics are collected, which can be weekly, monthly or quarterly. When you first come in, this will be set to never and you can just choose what you want to do from there. You can also choose, for each of those options, some additional information as to when the report should be collected. For example, with a monthly report, you can choose which day of the month the performance report should be generated, and you can also specify how long a grace period the franchisee is given before that report is considered overdue. The reason you might want to do that is, for example, if you run a report at the end of a month, it might take a few days for some final invoices to come through from suppliers or something like that if you're collecting cost information. So if I put that in and save it, that's then saved that frequency. One thing that needs to be made clear is that when you save the schedule, the reports will start running on the next full period. So you can see here that it says the performance reports were last generated never, and they'll next be generated at the start of the next month. If you need them created for the current period, you can click the Manually Run Reports for Current Period, and that will create them for the current period. Having covered off setting up the report and how to set up the schedule, I'd like to come back and talk a little bit about targets. If we go into one of the metrics we created earlier, so for example the number of tweets sent, and we edit that, you can see we've got an option in there. Does this metric have targets? If we choose yes, the performance management module allows you to set a target that you expect each franchise to hit for that particular metric, and will then flag up how much they've missed the target by. You can also set thresholds for what is considered a poor score and what is considered a good score. Franchise 360 will automatically assume that anything 20% above or below your target is appropriately good or appropriately poor. Obviously, holding all franchisees to the same targets may not be realistic. If some of them have been trading for significantly longer than others, the likelihood is their figures are going to be considerably better. The performance management module therefore allows you to set targets on a franchisee by franchisee basis if you want to. To do this, you just go into the Custom Goals tab, and from there you can see any metrics where you've configured that you want to have targets, and you can pick which franchise you're interested in. So in this case, we'll say we're going to set the custom goals for the Newcastle franchise, and we click on Edit. You'll notice at the moment it just says this franchise is using the default goal. If I edit that, I can now say, well, for Newcastle they've been going longer, so we're expecting them to do better. We're going to set the goal to 80. And again, that will calculate the good and the poor values appropriately. Once you've done that, just save that, and that goal is set appropriately for the franchise. Hopefully, this video has given you a good introduction to the options available to you through the Performance Management module. If you have any specific questions, please contact us through our website www.franchise360.co.uk, where you can find the contact details for our support team.